is in the booth tonight for the worldwide leader in sports and for, I guess, everything under the sun for Disney, except for you weren't in The Force Awakens, were you, Chris? That's the only thing that...
I was at the premiere, lucky enough to walk the red carpet and gawk like every other fan, but no, I did not have a small part.
How many networks is this on tonight? Do you have the count?
We're just doing the drab old main telecast on ESPN, but you're right. There are about 91 other ways to consume this if we're doing a bad job. But I encourage people to keep with the traditional broadcast.
I love that.
That's my agenda.
I love that, Chris. I love it. You go old school, like 20th century, straight up calling the game. How do you see this tonight? Because it's the contrasting styles that everybody's looking forward to. What are you picking to see tonight that you're looking forward to, Chris?
Well, can we have one of those transcendent performances by an individual? Usually it's a quarterback, in this case Deshaun Watson, to just kind of lift his team to one of the great seasons we've ever seen. You know, nobody's ever been 15-0 in the modern era, and number 4 tonight for the Tigers has got to do it running, throwing, leading, decision-making, surviving probably a fair number of big hits from the Bama defense. He's got to do something really special, and if he can, you know, I give Clemson a chance. As you know, the history of this stadium, I'm looking right at this big silver spaceship in Glendale right now, and you know, the last year's Super Bowl, all the history, not just in this stadium, but in this era of championship games, we've learned to expect the unexpected. So, and that's been one of the things that's marked the playoff in the first couple of years. You've had 5 playoff games, and 3 have been upsets. So, people ask me, does Clemson have a chance? I said, yeah, they got a chance. I think they actually have an excellent chance.
So what do you expect out of Alabama's game tonight? Just a heavy dose of Derrick Henry, just like the last couple of games, with 90 carries over the last 2 games for the Heisman Trophy winner?
It's interesting because that was their MO down the stretch. Then they used him mostly as a decoy against Michigan State, where he didn't touch the ball the first couple series, and then when he did, they were all over him, so it opened up things in the passing game, and Jay Coker had the best game of his life at quarterback. I think it's going to be tough for Coker to duplicate that against a much more multiple, aggressive defense in Clemson. Michigan State, he was in a comfort zone, got exactly what they expected, and executed it really well. Downfield throws, short, accurate throws, 25 of 30 is just off the charts for a guy that at times has been painful in the pass game this season. Tougher challenge for Coker tonight. Clemson will pressure him, try to confuse him. I think it's got to be a much heavier dose of Henry having success, bouncing some runs, and I think he looks really fresh and ready. But you know, Clemson's defense has been stout all year, so I don't know. I mean, maybe there's fewer points in this game than some people think.
And I'm on the phone with Chris Fowler, who's calling the national championship game tonight on ESPN. It's fascinating because Coker doesn't get a lot of pub for many reasons. And I mean, certainly in the pro game, it was the year of the backup quarterback in many ways. And the guys who he's backed up from high school, and A.J. McCarron to his time at Florida State to E.J. Manuel and Jameis Winston, he was even a backup when he got to Alabama. This could be his moment to shine in a manner like he did the last game we saw him, Chris.
Yeah, he's living the dream. I mean, he was benched this year, and their only loss to Ole Miss. He didn't start the game, came in, though, off the bench, played well, won the team over, and from that point on has been less worried about making a mistake and more worried about just playing and making plays, which, as you know, you can't play quarterback if you're worried about job security and my next mistake could be my last. And you know, once Kiffin and Saban kind of settled on this guy, like I said, it hasn't always been pretty. I mean, they've struggled, and if they're in 3rd and long tonight, look out. They're going to be some punts. Get ready, get the punt team ready, because it's a tough thing to execute for this offense against Clemson. But if they can manage the thing, get him confident early, you know, maybe he can duplicate it. And so many guys have interesting journeys and stories, but you kind of outlined Coker. His brother is going to be watching from Turkey. He's an A-10 Warthog pilot and running missions into the Middle East to combat ISIS, and he's going to stop and be able to watch the game. We're going to have a feed from their air base in Turkey tonight. And
Fantastic.
So, you know, the Coker story, I think you're right, is one of the more interesting in this game.
And so that's part of the megacast, right? For Turkey? Turkey's part of the megacast?
Part of the main telecast.
ESPN Turkey? I like it.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah, hey, look, man, I'm full of it. So this weekend, obviously, I've been locked into the pro game. Did I see Dabo, Swinney, and Nick Saban have a press conference together? Is that something new?
They do it in college. That never happens in the NFL, right? They never bring the coaches
Super
together
Bowl,
for these awkward exchanges before the game or
Well,
anything?
the Super Bowl, they never used to do it until the Harbaugh brothers made it, and then they started to try and do it now every year at the Super Bowl. That's it.
So Belichick and Carroll sat there out here a year ago together?
I think they did.
That must have been painful.
Well, I mean, Belichick succeeded Pete Carroll, so
yeah. I mean, Dabo and Saban get along well. I mean, Swinney's an Alabama grad. Saban at one point offered him a job back when he was an assistant at Clemson, and made the lucky choice not to take it because the head coaching job at Clemson was his shortly thereafter. But they get along very well, and there's no tension. It's just the situation is just awkward.
Right. So give me the X factor. You know, we look for the X factor, Chris. Give me somebody who's going to pop to the fore tonight you think that nobody's talking about right now.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there's so many guys because these games do tend to get decided by a backup tight end making a big play. Or, a couple things to watch is that Clemson has been defying all the football wisdom by winning despite bad field position, negative turnovers, and bad special teams. And as you know, I don't care what level of football you are, to be 14-0 and never trail in the fourth quarter despite all that stuff is rare. It speaks to how dominant they've been, but it also makes you think it might be borrowed time. Like they need to clean all that up. They can't allow a special teams touchdown or a mistake and be in the negative turnover category and try to live with bad field position against Bama. They're going to have to re-script some things, I think, to have success. But whether it's a Kenyon Drake, for Alabama, or maybe one of the less heralded receivers, Trevion Thompson or Jamon Hopper. These guys are not household names, but they're Clemson receivers who are part of a really deep group. And you almost do expect somebody to come through and come out of nowhere and make a huge play in a game like this.
And if let's say there had been an 8-team playoff, which team do you think on the outside looking in would have had a shot to have crashed this party? What do you think?
Ohio State or Stanford were the two best teams that didn't get in. I mean, they both proved that in their bowl game. They didn't deserve bids because they didn't do enough in the regular season. You can't say Ohio State belonged in over Michigan State, but I think at the end of the day, people would look at them and say, hey, if they played again, Buckeyes might be the better team. And Stanford with 2 losses obviously wasn't going to get the bid, but had there been an 8-team bracket, which was what David Shaw is campaigned for, they would have both been in the playoff and it would have been really, really dangerous. But this, unlike last year, Rich, we got the same matchup that we would have gotten in the old poll system.
From the BCS.
Teams have been 1-2 for like 2 months. And the BCS system would have probably spit out the same 2 teams. So we didn't need the bracket to get this matchup, unlike last year. But I just want the season. The bowl season's been dismal. You know that.
That's
terrible. It was a great regular season, suspenseful games.
So
most notably the game against your Maize and Blue, but so many crazy finishes, and then the bowl season was completely a dud, including especially the Cotton Bowl semifinal. So I just want something to send the season out, with an exclamation point.
So then, what prevents the bowls from going away? What is standing there? I mean, are these people from the 20th century will bring that up again? That just with their odd-colored jackets. That
Why should they go away?
Because
people watch him on TV. I mean, what would make him go away is if nobody watched.
Well,
they're created for television, and we put them on, and people watch. It doesn't matter what teams are out there. If it's football, they'll watch it. And I think you see some empty seats for sure,
right,
in these stadiums in the bowl games. Not the bigger ones, but a lot of the other games are not selling out. That's for sure. But they'll continue to exist because they're a viable product for TV. I don't like to see 5 and 7 teams get in, but the teams with losing records, the guy in the bowls, all won them. So what's next? 4 and 8?
I know. Before I let you go, Chris Fowler, what you think your Broncos made the right move, turning back to Peyton with Big Ben coming on Sunday? What do you think?
Yeah, but I still think it's about the pass rush and the running game against those guys. I'm hoping that Ben's shoulder isn't 100%, or they can hit him early or something like that, and because he definitely scares you, just his big game pedigree. And I really, yes, I do think they made the right choice. I just don't want to have to lean on Peyton in this game. I think you'd agree that's not going to work well.
I don't know. Maybe he's found that this is the first time in his playoff career that he comes in well rested with his arm. I mean, he's been sitting for the last 7 weeks except for half of football. could be a different
I
result.
know, and I think that's a good thing. I just with the rust and with the fact that you just don't want to have to lean on them. I mean, I think the defense has got to do their thing and make it tough to win in Mile High, and the running game's got to get going a little bit. And I don't want to have to throw in a number 18 and say, go win it.
Sure. Before I let you go, last one. Are you heading to Australia after this to do tennis?
Thursday.
No kidding.
We put away the football charts and we polish our Russian female tennis player pronunciation chart, and we get ready for one season ends and the tennis season starts, and it'll be like 90 degrees in Melbourne, and I'll be excited about it.
So you go from Shaq Lawson to what's
Simona Halep.
Okay, is that the toughest one? What's the toughest?
No.
Tennis
I mean she's just that was going for alliteration.
I liked it. See,
but no, they're. If I don't have the names by now, it is tricky when you get two players that have 10-syllable names and you get certain analysts I won't name who don't even want to try. But it's fun.
Okay.
It's fun, dude. I'll expect everyone to be up at 3:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 in the West Coast, watching our coverage.
I'll leave a candle on for you, Chris. I'll be watching tonight. Straight up vanilla. I'm a straight up vanilla watcher. I'll go straight up with you.
Absolutely, man. Traditional. That's all you need.
Straight up.
We got 92 cameras or something, so we'll give you all the angles just on the main broadcast.
Outstanding. Have a great cast tonight, Chris.
Thanks, Rich.
That's Chris Fowler calling number 1 Clemson versus number 2 Alabama tonight on ESPN.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.